tried to record this video like 6 times already. Hi, let's talk. IVE. We're gonna have a conversation about IVE today. Tomorrow I'm gonna talk about Genie. I promise. Like everyone was like, talk about Genie. I will tomorrow, okay? But today we are going to talk about IVE. I tried to record this video a couple of days ago, but people were having construction, so yeah. And I actually wanted this video to come out like at the beginning of this month. Then I got sick. So there's that. So we're recording this today. And today is actually Independence Day for Kenya. So to all of my Kenyan subscribers, happy Independence Day. Thank you. To Your Nation has treated me so nicely in the last decade that I've lived here, almost 1 decade. Except immigration. Immigration has been a complete bitch. They hate me. But everyone else has been wonderful. And this nation gave me my first best friend in 8 years. So I'm very grateful for that. So today we're going to be talking about IVE. I was scrolling on Twitter a couple of weeks ago, and you know what happens when you scroll on Twitter. Twitter will always remind you that it is Twitter because you always come across some dumb shit. I came across a New Jeans fan complaining about Monsta X's privilege. No, you heard me right. A New Jeans fan was complaining that Monsta X was privileged. Imagine standing a group from a big company like this and whining that other people from companies smaller than it are more privileged. Literally only hype buffoonery. The whole thing was a complete mess and everybody was fighting and scrawling and Monsta X was getting slandered left, right, and center. According to this wonderful Isaac Newton of our time, because they don't know who Monsta X is, then neither do the 8 billion people who live in this world, therefore they do not deserve to win an award with the word global in it. This was in reference to Monsta X's award at the Melon Music Awards for Global Artist, and everybody was just pissed. And because Monsta X slander is not Monsta X slander without Army getting involved, of course they did, and they started dragging Monsta X because literally these people will tell you every single day how little they think of Monsta X and how much they do not give two shits about Monsta X, yet every time those boys accomplish anything, they're always up in their ass. It's weird. So while Minhyuk and RM were taking pictures on some random couch with other K-pop idols, their fans were scowling at each other on social media like two women with low self-esteem fighting over a dude who cheated on them both. It was a whole freaking mess. Anyway, the next day, Monsta X's sister group IVE was getting the flack because they allegedly cheated their way to success. I know what you're gonna say, but IVE has been really good this year. They released amazing songs and whatnot. Yeah, no one is looking at that anymore. People are pissed at them, and this has to do with Kakao M. If you don't know what Kakao M is, they are a co-publishing company that was established in 1978. They are huge, they are massive. Their recent CEO, who I believe resigned, topped the list of the richest 50 people in South Korea. So this company is huge. 2014, I believe their revenue, their income, no, it was their revenue that was like 323 million US dollars. They're huge. They're almost like half a century old. They're one of the biggest like co-publisher companies in South Korea right now. Their messaging app has a total of 47 million users, and that's like 90-something% of the population. Now in 2021, they merged with Melon, who are the largest online music streaming service in South Korea with a whopping 28 to 30 million users, and I believe 5 million of those users are like monthly paying subscribers or something. So this company is massive. Now, why does this matter? This is because Kakao M is affiliated with certain K-pop companies, including IST Media, High Up Entertainment, who are responsible for Stacy, I believe, and of course Starship. And one of the interesting things is that they actually own 59% of the shares at Starship. So they have the largest shares at Starship Entertainment. So when a company that big has got that many shares in your company, yeah, it's kind of a big deal. Now, there is a Facebook page called Idol Issue, and allegedly this Facebook page has been known to be under Kakao M. It turns out Kakao M owns that Facebook page, and the reason why it is problematic is because it is believed that Kakao M was using a little strategy called viral marketing in order to favor IVE. If you look at Idol Issue, they cover like a lot of like K-pop stories, news, and controversies. And it turns out that a lot of their content surrounding groups like LE SSERAFIM, ITZY, New Jeans, and NMIXX has been negative coverage and trying to make it look like they're some controversial group, so they have a lot of controversies. Now, if you look at these groups, I heard they even had some things to say about aespa. They have two things in common. Number one, they're 4th generation girl groups. Number two, they are rivals to IVE. Because when you look at their coverage for idols or groups that come from IST or Starship Entertainment, it's always been good coverage. So the idea is to make the enemy look bad. Do you guys remember Garam, her? Yeah. So one of the stories that were coming out about her being a bully is that she allegedly trained at Starship Entertainment and she got kicked out because she was mean and rude to Won Young. And if I had a penny for every time I saw at least Won Young is not a terrible person, I would be a fucking zillionaire. And one of the other stories is that she wrote I've down Le Seraphim up on a blackboard in 2018 before IVE 1 even debuted. Yeah, we stand a future-telling queen, slay. I'm not saying that this is true, but all I am saying is that if it is proven that this page was responsible for starting those rumors, I personally wouldn't be surprised because they spread a lot of hate about Karam, spread a lot of hate about Sakura. My god, the amount of slander Sakura got from this page alone is insane. So people are believing that Kakao M is responsible for this. Kakao M says that this is owned by a third-party company that's under them, but nobody's really buying that. Yeah, that's not a really good defense, I'm just saying. And so people are pissed. So the story is that IVE has cheated their way to success, because if Kakao M owns the largest streaming service and now IVE is walking around scooping awards, then it's gotta be because they cheated in the charts. Now, Starship is not new to cheating. We know this because some of their people were responsible for helping push Won Young in Produce 48. So it's not truly surprising, right? They got 2 of their idols into IVE 1. These idols got really huge and now they're in IVE and IVE is massive. So trust and believe, it looks a little shady to say the least. So the story that has been spreading is that IVE has cheated their way to success, and a lot of people are very mad and flabbergasted by this. So I'm going to assume that the people who are pissed about this are pissed for 2 reasons. Number 1, obviously, morally, this is not okay. But number 2, the level of lividness just shows me that a lot of people do not know how the real world works. So let me break something for you. Starship is not the only company doing this. In fact, I'm willing to bet that 90% of K-pop companies do this shit. The difference is that Starship was clumsy and they got caught. Yeah, let that marinate for a second. In case you're not aware, this is how the world works. A lot of my viewers come from the US, so let me give you a wonderful example. I'm sure you guys know who Meghan Markle is, yes? And every time that woman breathes, there are certain news stations that always have something to say about it. They have like 10, 12, 30 videos. I remember when the trailer for their so-called docu-series came out, I can't tell you the number of videos, 10, 20-minute videos analyzing this 1 minute and 30-second clip about how Meghan Markle lied. I'm talking about there was like 12 videos from, I believe this one was Sky News Australia, and that was the story. It is $1 million industry to hate on Meghan. And I know what you're gonna say, no, Cheryl, it's because Meghan lied and there's like legitimate reasons as to why she lied. The people who complain that she lied, they get their information from tabloids that hate her, not from things that she said. I'll give you a wonderful example. One of the stories is that Meghan and Harry are attention seeking, and they said that they wanted privacy, yet they're always all up in everybody's business and talking about themselves, when in reality, that's not what happened. If you actually even watch the interview, Oprah asked them about this, and they actually talked about this. Meghan has talked about this, Harry has talked about this, their lawyer has talked about this, that they never said anything about, we want to leave in the name of privacy. They said that the media pushed this narrative even though they never talked about it. And she explained the whole thing, which to me, the explanation actually made sense. If you had actually watched that one clip, it's like literally 3 minutes of her talking about this, this would not even be a criticism. The same thing happens because a lot of people's perception of certain things do not come from their own personal opinions. Those opinions are actually influenced by what they see in other people's media. And I'll give you a good example with this channel. One of the biggest criticisms I get is that I actually blamed Black people for Giselle saying the N-word. Now, I never said that a day in my life, and people who criticize me, I actually tested this. I had one-on-one conversations with about 4 people who commented on my channel saying, how could you be blaming Black people, right? And I suggested, I said, hey, you know what? Could you please provide me a timestamp where I actually said this in this video? If you can find it, I'll apologize. And they couldn't find a single timestamp. They couldn't find a shred of proof. And at the end of the day, I gave them a timestamp where I specifically said that this was Giselle's fault. And their story became, well, people on TikTok said. People don't hate me because of what I've said. They hate me because of what other people have said about me that is not true. A lot of the times, if you do a deep analysis on opinions, this is why I hardly ever do like K-pop opinion videos, because a lot of the time I always have to dissect and look at my opinions. Are these my opinions, or are these opinions influenced by what other people say? If you look at American politics, because a lot of people who watch my channel are from the US, you would know that there are certain news stations that are catered to supporting Democrats and making Republicans look bad. And there are other news stations that are catered to support Republicans no matter what and to make Democrats look bad. It is all politics, and it's not surprising. From my point of view as a Christian, growing up, I've noticed a pattern. Whenever it is election season in America, a lot of American evangelists go through this fear-mongering of talking about the end times. The world is about to end, Jesus is coming, and if you do not vote for Republicans, you are fucking doomed. That is always the story. It's a pattern. My family and I have noticed it. We've talked about it, and it's part of the reason why we don't watch a lot of televangelicals, because they are complete hypocrites, and that's always the story. They fear-monger people into doing this. I believe it was John Hagee. I'd watched this man since I was a kid, who literally told people that if they didn't vote for Trump, they were going to go to hell. There's nothing biblical about this, but he spread this information anyway, got criticized, of course, and apologized or whatever. But the whole point that I'm trying to make is that there are certain people who are literally paid to make other people look good. If you look at the crap that Won Young has gotten over the years, I promise you, there is a company that is pushing the hate that she's getting. I mean, this girl gets dragged for eating fucking strawberries. A lot of companies are doing this. They're going out of their way to support whether it is certain pages or whatever, to spread hate about someone, because there's some people who do things like they're being paid to do so. And I personally wouldn't be surprised if I found out that there's an actual company responsible for supporting the amount of hate Won Young gets. I know a lot of people are so upset by this, but this is how the real world works, which is why whenever I watch the news, which is like once in 6 million years, I always put a question mark at the end of every headline. I've been doing this since I was like 20. I don't know. I watched a video, someone who suggested you do that. And since then, I've been doing a lot more free thinking. The way the world is designed is to not support free thinking. You are designed to become a piece of the world, to just function the way the world wants you to function. And if you really take a look at a lot of your opinions, you can tell that they are not your personal opinions as you like to frame them as. They're actually just manipulated by the media. One of the stories you get is that IVE are full of themselves. They never bow to their seniors, blah, 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 and shit like that. A lot of those are not personal opinions. They are simply opinions framed by the way other people make IVE look. Now, one thing you have to understand is that IVE's success is going to differ depending on how people see them. Personally, for me, IVE winning all these awards does not surprise me. I recently got my Spotify Wrapped, and I found out that I actually streamed IVE more than I streamed any other group, including my ultimate groups. My ultimate groups came in, MCND was second, I believe Red Velvet was third, and Everglow was fifth, followed by ATEEZ was sixth, and then Monster X number 7. I streamed IVE more than, I had 76,000 minutes of streams, and 8,000 of those were just IVE, and they like 6 songs. But the whole thing I'm saying is that for people who like IVE's music, their success doesn't surprise anyone, their wins, etc. But for people who don't like it, I saw this one person going, oh my god, I'm so surprised like their mediocre music was charting so high on Melon. Because subjectively you think it's mediocre, and so it would make sense to you that this whole thing was rigged. But the fact that people want to look down on any of the accomplishments that IVE have had, if you look at a lot of the businesses that Won Young and Eugene are associated with, shouldn't surprise you that they have a lot of coverage and a lot of personal success. Like, everyone is obsessed with this group. I talk about Won Young, she is loved like crazy, hated like crazy. I mean, everyone is just literally obsessed with these girls, and their support, honest to God, does not surprise me. But for people who don't like their music, it might be surprising because you don't spend all day listening to IVE or talking about IVE. I saw a lot of people saying, like, if you look at New Jeans, it's so surprising they broke so many records and they didn't win a lot of awards. Like, girl, we're going to sit here and pretend that people were not complaining about their CEO and how shady she was, because if you debut a bunch of minors and your response to people complaining about it is, I can do it because everyone else is doing it, Kakao M is the least of your worries. I'm just saying. Do I think that the viral marketing worked in favor of IVE? Yes, I'm not stupid. I'm not going to sit here and pretend that it didn't. But to say that that is the only reason as to why they're successful is just dumb. The truth is, Starship marketed IVE better than New Jeans, and that's why they have the awards and New Jeans doesn't, so stop crying about it on Twitter. It's weird. Yeah, and that's all I have for this video. I will see you guys tomorrow, where I'll finally talk about Genie, and I think a couple of days from now, I will have the documentation for you guys to start voting. I would have counted this much earlier, but then I got sick, and I'm so sorry about it. So thank you so much for watching, and I will see you next time. I love you. Ta! Mwah.
tenga, 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 tenga.